Resuming debate, reprise de débat, and the Honourable Member for Guelph.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to offer my full support of the Paris Agreement and the promise this agreement holds for Canada's future. Climate change is truly unlike any other challenge this House, or indeed humanity itself, has ever faced, as this struggle is not with a particular nation or ideology, but with an ever-increasing need of human society. We cannot allow ourselves to forget the means by which we got to this point. By draining marshlands, clearing rainforest, and burning fossil fuels, we release millions of tons of CO2 into the atmosphere. Mr. Speaker, will we assume our responsibility as stewards to this fragile planet, or will we simply sit back and continue to watch our shared planet slide further into the environmental abyss? Our responsibility as parliamentarians is to address this global challenge and the part that Canada plays in its resolution. On behalf of the people of Guelph, I'm here to say that inaction is not an option at all. As a community, Guelph is mobilized in defense of the well-being of the environment and the planet. Guelphites have come together to do our part in curbing the effects of climate change. From our remarkable University of Guelph, which trains half of Canada's environmental engineers every year, to the City of Guelph's Community Energy Initiative, and to the residents and businesses that combine to conserve energy and water. In Guelph, businesses, government, and education always look for ways to collaborate and to innovate. The challenge for Guelph has been to reduce our per capita energy and water consumption by 50% between the years of 2006 and 2021. Due to Ontario's Places to Grow legislation, Guelph has been mandated to grow by 50% in this same time period, accepting 55,000 more people and creating 31,000 more jobs. Guelph's challenge reflects the global challenge. We have limited resources on which to draw from in this period of growth. Guelph draws its water from an underground cistern, being one of the only communities in Ontario that does not have access to lake or river water for its supply. We're also limited by access to power through the power grid and the transformer capacity feeding Guelph. Our Community Energy Initiative is on target to reach our targets. Over 50% of Guelph's small businesses have adopted lighting retrofits, and Guelph generates more than 10% of Ontario's solar power. We're diverting almost 70% of our waste from landfill. And through efficiencies in our wastewater management plant, we've increased our capacity by over 50%. Solid waste from our wastewater facility is now available for fertilizer, and further opportunities are being investigated for biogas applications. Our closed landfill has been generating power from methane for over a decade, and now it's one of North America's only urban pollinator parks. Through the Royal Flush program, Guelph homes have retrofitted their toilets to low flush models. Similar programs have been instituted for front-loading washing machines and rounding up high-energy consumption refrigerators. However, Mr. Speaker, Guelphites are not finished. We're in fact restless, and we'll continue to lead the way and push to reduce our community's carbon footprint. In fact, last Friday, I attended a groundbreaking ceremony from Gatto Homes. Gatto Homes will be the new net-zero-ready townhouse development that upon completion will have net zero townhomes developed in Guelph. Innovative and green developments like what Gatto Homes is doing are precisely the kind of projects we need if we're going to seriously tackle the issues of climate change and win. This first in Ontario net zero townhouse development will provide homes that use under 1/10 of the normal energy for heating and include continuous fresh air intake to provide the ultimate in comfort and healthy living. Similarly, Fusion Homes in Guelph recently was awarded for their new net zero design for homes greater than 2,500 square feet. Battling climate change does not need to come at a sacrifice to comfort or cost. Economics is tied with the environment, saving life cycle costs and at the same time reducing our environmental footprint. As the Prime Minister informed the House on Monday, there are 3 simple and straightforward reasons to implement a carbon pricing policy. Carbon pricing gives reasonable and predictable pricing that will drive innovation and encourage businesses to be more competitive and increase efficiency. Giving incentives opens the door to new projects. Clean environment and the strong economy go hand in hand, as I've just told you. Reducing our carbon footprint is a benefit that Canadians, especially the middle class, will enjoy. Using pricing on pollution to drive market innovation, create new and exciting jobs, will be something that our communities can look forward to under this new pricing regime. 1/3 of $1 trillion was invested last year alone in green technology globally. Pricing pollution is a proven way to stop major emitters from increasing air pollution and the pollution of waters across the globe. In fact, 9 out of 10 people live in areas where air quality is poor. Every year, 3 million people die from causes due to air pollution. For proof that carbon pricing works, one doesn't need to leave the province of Ontario. Toronto experienced 53 smog days in 2005. Last year, it was 0. Mr. Speaker, numbers don't lie. Carbon pricing works. On a local level, Guelph is taking action. It's our duty as members of Parliament to make sure that communities from coast to coast to coast have the funds and guidance needed to carry out this crucial work. A lot of attention is being paid to putting a price on pollution and coordinating this effort with provinces and territories. Implementing a price on pollution will drive Canadian residents and businesses to implement creative solutions such as those we're working on in Guelph. Commercial opportunities will also emerge as businesses in the green technology space work on ways to further reduce our carbon footprints. In Europe, where energy costs are more accurately reflected in the cost of pollution, communities can implement or have implemented district energy programs, installed combined heat and power solutions, and implemented alternate energy programs. Mr. Speaker, I recently visited the city of Bottrop, Germany, with a population of 86,000 people, which has labeled itself Innovation City for the work they are doing on energy and water management. Germany has a word for the programs that Canada will be embarking on: Energiewende. By learning from innovative international partners like Germany, Canada can accomplish the targets set in the Paris Agreement. Guelph spends $500 million a year on energy. We have twice the per capita energy cost that Germany has, with half the per capita consumption. Therefore, the economic opportunity on cost savings alone represents $250 million for our community alone. Imagine what freeing up that money could do for our community and our country. Mr. Speaker, we're at the threshold of another great industrial revolution, and Guelphites are only too happy to seize this crucial moment to dramatically reduce our carbon footprint and grow Guelph at the same time. The Paris Agreement opens the door for Canada to take a leadership role in the fight against climate change. Therefore, I look forward to voting in favour of this so important agreement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Excellent.
Questions and comments. The honourable member for Port Moody, Coquitlam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the microphone will come on soon. Port Moody, Coquitlam. There we go. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank my honourable colleague for his speech. And I want to mention the member, stated that inaction is not an option. He went on to talk about what's happening in his riding of Guelph, and he also referenced other countries. But, Mr. Speaker, he failed to mention what concrete action his government is actually taking on reducing climate change and addressing targets. Committing to the Paris Accord is absolutely commendable, and as a responsible nation, that's something that we must do. But this government has also signed off on, in my province of British Columbia, 2 LNG energy projects, a massive Site C dam project in the Peace River Valley, and we're hearing rumors that this government is going to sign off as well on the Kinder Morgan project, which is a huge pipeline project. These projects obviously are going to increase greenhouse gases. Now, I know that these projects are they're huge projects. I just want to note that they've been approved under the old Harper rules, under the Harper conservative rules. They have not. They made promises that they would make changes to the new rules and go through approving these rules or changing these rules, the Fisheries Act.
Order. The time for questions and comments is limited to 5 minutes, and we'll try to get at least a second question in, so we'll have to leave it there for the honourable member, and we'll go to the honourable member for Guelph.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the member from Port Moody, Coquitlam. And you can see there's passion in the House around this issue, and we wish we had all day to talk and back and forth on it, and maybe we can do some of that in the parking lot as we go forward from here. The action that our government is taking is setting a price on pollution, starting with $10 per ton and escalating by $10 per year to get to $50 per ton, which is something unprecedented in Canada. We're actually putting a price in place and then working with the provinces and territories to make sure that they have programs that will either meet these goals or else offer cap and trade that will offer similar progress. The LNG projects and other projects in Canada will have to meet strict environmental standards and strict social license standards, and we're looking at 190 conditions that need to be met for those projects to move forward, again, unprecedented in Canada. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Questions and comments. Question commentaire. L'honorable député de...
The honourable member for... Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to congratulate my honourable colleague from Guelph for his passionate speech and for the actions that are being taken in his riding for the environment. The government is convinced, Mr. Speaker, that climate change represents a major challenge to be met, but also a major opportunity to be seized to build an economy that will promote clean growth to fight climate change. But while creating jobs, yes, creating jobs, well-paying jobs for middle-class Canadians. My honourable colleague, does he agree?
The honourable member for Guelph.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to my honourable member in front of me. The economy really is hinging on this new technology that we're bringing forward. In Guelph, we've actually been attracting businesses such as Canadian Solar, which is Canada's largest solar panel manufacturer, to our community based on our commitment to climate change reductions. And put another way, if you're not enforcing climate change reductions, then when the cost goes up, you'll really notice the difference, Mr. Speaker. So it's so important that we embrace the climate change reductions personally and by businesses to avoid future costs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I see the honourable